feel now that you have a second album out? Do you feel more like you have your own sound? I mean, like most of the bands, when they release a debut album, they put all the influences they have for years on that debut album, and on a second album, they do something that they have like a more a trademark. Do you feel like this album sounds more like you, or you were already your sound on the debut album?
Good question. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't think the new album sounds that different from the first album. I think the production is different, as in the actual, the production and the sound of the album. But in terms of the song, I think it's still fairly similar. I guess as a band, because of my dad and obviously when he was in Motorhead, there is an expectation to have a certain sound, or at least elements of that kind of Motorhead sound, which we try and, take little bits of when we can, but we don't want to just be a Motorhead, rip-off band. We want to try and create our own sound, but obviously we are still trying to appeal to some of his fans, some of the Motorhead fans as well. So there's a lot of different people that love our sound and they love our new sound, and there's a lot of people who think we're shit. So you know what I mean? It's because we don't sound exactly like Motorhead did. But I think we are trying to kind of get away from that as much as possible. And we want to just be known for our own songs. But it is getting there now. Now when we play a live show, that some of our own songs, are having a better reaction from the audience than some of the Motorhead songs that we still play. So that's really good. It shows that people are liking our songs.
Yeah, that was my next question, because since you started and we first heard that Phil Campbell is gonna have a band with his sons, well, people already labeled you. Like they say, okay, they're gonna sound like Motorhead, or they're gonna do Motorhead covers, you know. Some sort of way that conditions you in just not only how you place, how do you think people will react, because maybe you don't want to disappoint people who are coming from Motorhead and expect you to play something similar like Motorhead, and also you don't want to disappoint people that just say that you're gonna be just a covers band, But anyways, you get a lot of attention just for the name of the band and the people who is involved in the band, especially your father, Phil. In any point when you were releasing this album, and you actually, I think you went on tour with the Guns N' Roses, right? Do you feel any sort of advantage for a band that is releasing a debut album, getting all that attention? Exactly.
Sorry, yeah. Well, I just think we were happy for anyone to really be talking about us. We don't take it for granted. So we were happy for, anyone to play us or talk about us, write about us. But yeah, we were very lucky to do big shows like that with the Guns N' Roses. I think they were amazing, and they were probably the best things I will ever do in my lifetime. But it was a difficult crowd to play to.
Yeah.
Because the Guns N' Roses, I guess, are more mainstream rock fans and things like that. And we maybe sounded a little bit heavy. I don't know. We're not the heaviest band in the world, as you know, but we just went out there and did our own stuff that we wanted to do. And it was amazing. But in terms of what you said earlier, I think there was an expectation of what we were going to sound like, and we didn't want to be a Motorhead tribute band or cover band or anything like that. But have lots of people turn up to the shows and they kind of want to hear a few songs, a few Motorhead. So we still put a few in. Maybe we will put a few less in now. I don't know. We've never had that conversation because we don't have any shows coming up. But we obviously want to showcase our new songs now. And there's only so much room in the set list, so we'll see.
Right. So if it depends on you, and you have to choose a set list, will you still include Motorhead cover songs on your set list, or you are ready
Um,
to go on and just play your own songs?
I would be happy to, personally, just me now, I would be happy to like maybe just play, two Motorhead songs or maybe three,
Yeah,
and then I'd like to play the rest of it from our own songs. Um, but I don't think I'd ever win that argument with the other band. I don't know. I think there's a few other guys probably agree with me. It's so difficult, and I guess until we start having some shows, then we can discuss what the set list will be, and the way I see it, I don't know if you're aware, um, everything's been cancelled this year now, but next year there are some festivals where we're playing Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons plays Motorhead, and
yeah,
we will be 100% Motorhead songs there, just
yeah,
as like a special thing. So the way I see it, we can go out as two separate acts if we want for different occasions.
right.
And if people want to see all the Motorhead stuff, we're happy to do it. I wouldn't want to do that full time because I want to be playing our own songs. But it was something that was going to be fun for this year.
Hmm.
Before the new record was due for release, but obviously everything got cancelled. But
Hmm.
because some of the festivals have rescheduled for next year, we're going to be doing some of those sets next year instead now.
Hmm.
So, but the way I see it, I would, maybe two or three maximum, and then the rest our own songs. That would be my ideal set list, personally.
Right.
Makes sense.
So how do you feel about next year? Because as you say, most of the festivals are scheduling bands for the next edition, 2021. But as things are going, we still don't have a vaccine, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to have huge gatherings in festivals for next year. What are your thoughts about it? How do you see it? Because we,
Well,
we don't even have tours now, so imagine.
I know, I know. I, I try and live with some positivity. I try my best to think positive about what can happen. But, from a realistic point of view, unless the vaccine starts coming in, maybe Christmas or January, February, I think, or if the virus decides to die out completely, which I don't think it will.
Yeah,
I don't know how it is in Spain for you guys, but I hope you're okay. But it's in the UK, it's kind of creeping back up again
yeah, yeah,
now. The county where I live is in a local lockdown,
yeah.
so no one's allowed to leave the county or come into the county unless it's for work. So in the UK they're trying to um, make the rules a little bit more strict again, in the hope that it will stop raising up. But yeah, I'm hoping things go ahead next year. Whether they have to have smaller capacities, or I don't really know how they can do it really.
Yeah.
But I guess it's the only, a big festival, you need a group of people in the field for it to work, really. I don't know how they can really enforce spacing it out.
Yeah.
There have been some experiments in the UK. I don't know if it's the same in Spain, but where they did a few shows in cars where you have to stay in your car. I don't
Yeah.
think I think that's pretty bad, but it's worth a try. And there are some venues where they've like painted like squares out on the ground.
Hmm.
And then if you're in like a little group of people or a family, you have to stay within that square. But obviously you're not going to be able to sell as many tickets for that most festivals are used to selling. So it will affect everything. It will affect the bands that are playing because they won't be able to afford the big bands, or the bands will have to play for less money, which means they might not be able to afford the transport and all the costs. So it is a difficult one. If it goes down that route of reducing the numbers, I just don't know whether bands are just going to do it because they might not be able to afford to do
Exactly.
it.
Hmm.
But like I said, I'm trying to be positive about it. Um, and see. I guess none of us can really do anything to
Yeah,
change it. But hope for the best and deal with it when it comes. But yeah, I can't. If 2021 has no rock shows at all, then that would be a very sad year. Very
totally,
sad.
totally. I always thought that Neil Starr was a great choice for a singer because I really love his voice, even in his previous band, Attack Attack.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I read when the first songs of Phil Campbell and the Bastard songs came out, there were people saying that I really like the sound of the band, but the singer, I didn't really like his voice. But in my case, I really enjoy his singing,
Ah, good.
and I think
Thanks.
it should be a very thought spot being the singer in a band like this when you have all the Campbell family around you. So
Yeah, good.
I just wanted to know, was he was your first choice as a singer, or you were looking for someone else? Because I think you're friends with him from before, right?
Yeah, that's correct. He was just a friend. Um, in my old bands, I used to go on tour with Attack Attack,
Yeah,
and our guitarist, who's my brother Todd,
yeah,
he was in another band with Neil called Dopamine.
yeah.
So we've all known each other for many years, and it was before we started the band. We kind of got together as a little bit of a joke, for a bit of fun, for for Todd's 30th birthday, and we decided to we he had a 30th birthday party,
Right.
and it was a band playing, and we decided to get up and play some covers, and Neil was there, so we said, "Oh, do you want to come and sing some covers with us?" And we just thought it sounded really good, so we decided to continue doing that, and
Yeah.
we started out as a covers band really, and we did a few shows in the UK, and I think we did one in France. We were called Phil Campbell's All-Star Band at the time.
Yeah.
And then, it was after, and then we decided to take it more seriously then, and we changed the name to Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, which is difficult sometimes because of the name. But I like it. But like you mentioned, there are still some people, maybe don't like Neil's voice. I think he sounds great. I think they're basing their opinion on the fact that he isn't Lemmy.
Yeah.
Um, I think most people just are expecting someone who sounds like Lemmy, but it goes back to your previous point that we're trying to have our own identity and our own sound. We are not trying to be a Motorhead covers band or anything. We want our own sound. So we wouldn't, nobody sounds like Lemmy anyway, but
Exactly.
we wouldn't want to try and find someone that had a similar voice to Lemmy because we're not trying to be Motorhead. But there are plenty of Motorhead tribute bands already
Hmm.
existing. They can do their thing, and I'm sure there's a market for that for people who enjoy that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was more that it was convenient, and we were friends with him, and I think his other bands had got a lot quieter. They weren't playing so much anymore. And he's local. He lives near where we live. So when we rehearse, it's easy. And I guess we just never, we never really looked for another singer. It's never been an option really.
Yeah.
We're happy with his voice and he enjoys it. So I think there's always going to be, some people on the internet or on YouTube that are going to say negative things about him. And
Yeah.
I think that has happened. So as long as he doesn't take it to heart, which I don't think he does, I don't think he even reads them. So I don't think
Right.
it really matters. People are allowed their opinions. They can think whatever they like. I don't
Yeah.
mind. I understand.
All right. So I just wanted to know for this second album, for example, how do you share responsibilities composing wise? Because you have your father with a huge experience, but you also guys have bands before, right? So someone has a leading voice here when composing wise, or all you guys just throw
Um,
your ideas there?
yeah, we kind of work together as a team. This time around, it was just before the coronavirus kind of went crazy and there was a lockdown.
Yeah.
Luckily, written all the songs together in the rehearsal room without Neil. Neil wasn't there.
Uh huh.
we did it without Neil. Normally my brother Todd or normally my dad will have like a guitar riff.
Yeah.
Or sometimes even Tyler, who plays the bass, I think he had a few riffs on the bass, and we just kind of make ideas around that. Obviously, as a drummer, I don't get too involved in the writing of riffs, but there are some things I come up with because I can play guitar and bass as well.
Yeah.
Not as good as those guys, but I can play. But yeah, we all work as a team. We share everything equally. I think that's the best way. Otherwise, bands break up over arguments about songwriting royalties. So we split everything equally. We just say all songs written by Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons. But yeah, it is a combined effort where, there might be one song where my dad wrote the chorus riff and then my brother wrote the verse riff and then maybe someone else came up with the middle eight or, so everyone puts in their ideas. So yeah, we work as a team really.
Yeah.
But luckily we'd finished writing the songs just before the lockdown and then we started recording during the lockdown. So we had the recording thing separately. We were never in the studio together.
Right.
So on our first album, we all jammed together and we were all there for most of it. And that's what most bands do, I guess. But this time around, it was just Todd and me. Because Todd produced this album. I don't know if you know that. He's the producer of it.
Yeah.
So it was me and him doing the drums. And then I went home and that was it. I wasn't in the studio any more than that. I think I came in towards the end to play some tambourine or some shit, some percussion or something. But then it was just Todd and Tyler. They did bass, and I think Todd recorded guitar himself. I think maybe.
Yeah.
And then my dad came in and did some guitars. We were never in the studio together, which was interesting because you couldn't get opinions and feedback from the other members of the band, if you know what I mean. You just had to go what you thought. I guess me and Todd just had to decide on the drum parts, or, rather than get an influence from the rest of the band.
Yeah.
But it sounds good. I think we're happy with what we did, without the outside influence. But it was just a strange way to do it, really. But I guess lots of other bands have done the same thing if they recorded at the same time.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Depends how much they were following the rules. I guess different countries have had different rules, I guess. So.
Yeah. No, especially you, if you were only once in the studio and you recorded all your tracks there, maybe if some of your brothers says, maybe you can try this here or there, but you already recorded everything and you never came back to the studio, so.
Yeah, well, soon, I think I did maybe 4 days.
Yeah.
So I did 4 days and then we packed the drums away then, so there was no chance of changing anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that's what I would be used to, would be having influence from the other guys, saying, maybe try a different fill, or I don't like that drum fill there, or try a different beat share, or hit cymbal, But it was just me and Todd deciding everything between us. But Todd's good, so he's a good producer, and he plays drums as well. So he knows what he's doing.
Great. And it surprised me that you have a lot of songs on the album. There are 13 songs, but even there on the limited digipack, you have like 4 or 5 live songs. Normally, bands will just release an album with 10 songs and then next year release an EP with live songs. But you decided to release all at the same time in different packages. Well, at the same time, so I think that maybe you thought more is better, right?
Well, I think we appreciate our fans, and I guess we just wanted to give them as much as possible.
Yeah.
We hadn't released any music for a good maybe 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to fill the album. Well, I think we would have aimed for maybe 11 songs, and then we decided, let's do a few more. give them some good value because, the CD's still the same price. So if you can give them a few extra songs, I think it makes it more valuable. And with the live tracks, it was just an idea, really. I think it was the record label. They wanted to suggest us. They wanted to do an exclusive digipack version, just as a different option, I guess. Maybe that's what they do. And they said, "Do you have any B-sides or any live tracks?" So we said, "Well, we do have some live recordings they were from a session we did for Kerrang magazine, actually. I don't know why they mentioned that, but they were from a Kerrang session that we did a few years ago. But I think they sound pretty good. Because they have never been released, so they're at least new. They're new versions of the songs to buy. So they don't previously exist anywhere to buy, at least anyway.
Great.
But it was mainly just to give the fans more songs, really.
Yeah, good. Right. So then I think you have your own podcast about drums, right?
Yes. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's called Drum for the Song.
Yeah. And
So
a lot of musicians right now are doing podcasts, and most of them are just for the fun of it, But I wanted to know if it is your case, or if you are thinking actually of this as something in a professional way.
Well, it's very early days for me. I'm not experienced in interviewing or journalism or podcasts or anything like that. But it was an idea I had last year. I was at festivals and I was listening to a lot of podcasts at the time. And I was like, I'm at these festivals and there's so many great drummers at these festivals. And my dad knows lots of great drummers from many years of being in Motorhead and meeting people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I just thought, wouldn't it be great to have my own podcast and I could speak to drummers and stuff like that. And I was too busy to really make that happen.
Yeah.
But I guess, and then when the virus happened and I knew all the gigs were going to be cancelled, I thought now is the time to try and start it. And I noticed that a few podcasts were doing it online via Zoom or Skype or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can do that. That's easy enough. So I just thought I'd try it for fun, really. And I do find it fun. I think it's always going to be something I do on the side. If I can ever somehow make a little bit of money from it, that would be great. But I'm not expecting to become a professional podcaster.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm trying to build it as much as I can. And especially now I've got more time. So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And I've had some great guests on there. I've had Nigel Glockler from Saxon.
Yeah.
He was my first guest, which I think was a pretty good guest to have. I've had Matt Sorum. He was in Roses and Velvet Revolver, so that's a really big guest. And then slightly different genre. There's a band called Funeral for a Friend. I've had the drummer.
Yeah, I know them. They're reuniting, I think, for some shows.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did some charity shows last year.
Yeah.
We're meant to be doing some shows this year because of the virus. They've been moved to next year.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be it then. So that was interesting to chat about all that with their drummer.
Yeah.
He's from Wales as well, so I kind of know him. Someone I've been friends with for a few years.
Yeah.
And I just the episode I just released is really interesting. Another Welsh drummer called Bob Richards, but his most amazing story was AC/DC, Rock or Bust, and Play Ball. I don't know if you know those songs.
Yeah, he appears on the videos, right?
Yeah, he appears on the video as the drummer. Yeah, so it's a pretty crazy story. But it was really great. So I'm trying to do 2 episodes every month. So it gives me a little time, and I'm a little bit slow on the editing because I'm not, I'm literally teaching myself how to do that. I've never really done that before.
Yeah.
And I do the video version. So I know some people find that stuff really easy if they've been doing it for a long time, but it's all new to me. So it takes me a little bit longer to kind of edit them and stuff like that. But I'm going to keep doing it as much as I can until, well, I'm hoping the audience builds gradually. At the moment, it's still small. I get as many followers as I can. But if anyone who's reading the magazine thinks they might be interested, it's not just, I don't aim it just at drummers. I think we talk a little bit about drums in each episode, but it's mainly about their lives and their stories. So it's not strictly made for other drummers. So I'd like to make that clear, because I think the name suggests that maybe it is, but it's not just a nerdy drum podcast. We talk about lots of different things and events and stories, and we have good fun. And hopefully the listeners have good fun as well.
Totally. And who knows, maybe it will lead you to a show on the radio. I think Bill Ward from Black Sabbath, he started doing a podcast and he landed a show on the radio.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, maybe in the future. That's something I've never really thought about. But I guess I'm still in my 30s. I'm hoping to play in a live band as long as possible.
Yeah.
But if that ever becomes impossible going forward, I would definitely consider doing that if people think I'm good enough. But I'm hoping I will improve. I had to overcome, to be honest, it was quite difficult for me to overcome, speaking on the camera. I don't really like the sound of my voice. I've never really done many interviews for the band before. I normally stay away and I just get on. I'm trying to do a few more now because I'm more confident to do them. So I overcome being nervous, and I had a lack of confidence doing it. But now I've started, I'm finding it more easy. So maybe if someone wants to give me a job on the radio, if someone wants to give me a job one day, I'd love to do that. And speaking of Bill Ward, I'd love to get him on the podcast one day, but I think he might be difficult. But I'll try.
Who knows? Yeah. Totally. So, well, just to finish the interview, I was reading the news today, rock news. There was news about Lars Ulrich from Metallica. Someone asked him about the greatest drummer of all time between John Bonham and Neil Peart from Rush. So, if they ask you the same question, do you have an answer?
Between those two drummers, it's difficult. I don't know what Lars said. I haven't seen that, but like personally, from my own musical tastes and what I've grown up listening to, I've never really done the Rush thing. I've never really gotten into Rush music, but I do know Neil Peart is an incredible drummer.
Yeah.
I've seen many of his drum solos.
Yeah.
He's one of the most technically proficient drummers I've seen.
Yeah.
So there are many arguments for both answers. But if someone was to say my favorite drummer out of those, I would go with John Bonham, but it's a little bit biased because I've heard more of his music and I've been influenced by him. His playing more. He's obviously not as technical as Neil Peart. I don't think he can play in all the different time signatures. I don't think he can play as busy, but he's got just a natural groove. And that's what I'm not as good as John Bonham, but I personally think the most important thing is the groove of the song and just playing for the song and just trying to get the audience to feel something. And I think he was a master at doing that. He was obviously great at drum solos and things like that because he's quite inventive, playing with his hands, which I think at the time was probably crazy back in the 70s. So if it's hard. Best drummer, technically the best drummer I would say would probably be Neil Peart. But my favorite drummer, those two would be John Bonham.